All right, welcome to another edition of 10 Minutes with. We almost have enough people here too that we could do the whole Brady Bunch thing with the my windows.
There you go.
Yeah, but we're a few people short this time, but maybe we'll try that sometime, Kate.
Maybe. We'll see.
I guess since I'm like the center square, does that maybe was it Alice? Was she the center?
The maid, right?
Maid, yeah. Her name was Alice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. We're really,
I don't know.
What's the Brady Bunch like 3 times, and all I know is that one of them gets hit in the face with a football, and that's really about it.
Yeah.
There you go. Ice broken.
Those modern pop culture references.
There you go.
Brendan's sitting there being like, what the hell?
Yeah, I've heard of the Brady Bunch, but I have not watched the episode in forever.
What's that Nick at Night thing, right?
That show, at least in color? Yes, it was. So our guest today, as you can see, we have a full house. Our guest, actually one of our guests is a longtime friend of the site. He Adam Corsair here, he used to host the South of the Six podcast. He recently closed up shop there after many years. But he also does a second podcast with 2 of his friends here on each side of me. So when it obviously introduce Adam, but we also want to introduce Craig Borden and Brendan Panikkar of the Jaybird Watching Podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
How's it going, DJ?
Deal.
Oh, so got through that intro okay today. So
There you go.
Rule
Points on the board.
number 2 is we don't edit this show, so any mistakes get left in, and usually are by me. So we're gonna jump right in.
Really familiar. We record live as well, so we're just kind of used to goofing around and tossing the ball around, basically.
Oh, we don't do it live. We're just too lazy.
There it is. It's one of those deals.
We're too lazy, and it usually is funnier when you just leave the screw ups, and people do get a good laugh out of it. So
True.
More natural.
yeah, obviously not perfect, and shows you the reason why we don't do it live. So, jumping in, obviously the 3 of you are all Toronto Blue Jays fans that you've come together to form this show. So how did the 3 of you meet, and why did you decide to start a podcast together?
You guys want me to field that one?
Yeah, go for it, Craig.
I think you and I met first, right, Craig?
Yeah, we met first, but in all reality, the 3 of us were we were writers at Jays Journal when the Blue Jays were starting to rise in 2015 again from the ashes of the abysmal years, as we put it on the podcast. And in all reality, we were on another friend's podcast, Adam and I, together randomly, and I was like, hey, by the way, I'm going to be heading up to a Boston Red Sox game and a New Hampshire Fisher Cats game, because I have some family that lived in New Hampshire. And Adam goes, no way. I live right down the street, basically, in Rhode Island. So him and I met up and saw a heck of a ball game where the New Hampshire Fisher Cats actually had, this is how long ago? It was Lourdes Gurriel Jr. was on that team.
Yep. Doubleheader. Yeah, I remember that.
So after that, shenanigans, everything ensued, and goof arounds, good talks, and Brendan obviously being a big part of that. And we more or less were having such fun on our own that Brendan and I started goofing around with having a podcast, and then Adam became more available and wanted to join in, and we made what we think is the best barroom Blue Jays chat you can possibly have, and we do it every week.
It's a good summation.
I can't think of anything else to add to that.
I'm missing a beer.
Sounds like you got that pretty well. I'm going to deviate right now. You mentioned 2015, so the first thing I think of the Toronto Blue Jays in 2015 was that epic ALDS game. That's which even going back to the best bat flip you're ever going to see ever, it's never going to be topped. But there was a play in the inning before that where was Russell Martin catching or
Yep.
And he goes to throw the ball after a pitch back to the pitcher, and I think Shin-Soo Choo was batting.
Yep.
He threw it off of his bat. The ball goes down the third base line. Runner runs in and scores, and everyone's just like, "What the hell just happened there?" And
especially Brendan, he was there.
I was there.
Perfect. What went through your mind when you saw that ball go flying off the bat? I mean, initially you see it live and it's like, oh, he stuck his bat out to deflect the throw, but he realized no, he was just standing there. He was just kind of prepping to get ready for the next pitch.
Yeah, honestly, man, chaos ensued in the whole stadium because you could see Dale Scott, the umpire, like do like the foul ball or whatever signal it is to whistle that the play is dead, but Chu still comes and touches home plate. And so when they go through those reviews and everything like that, they go look at it. And then after the first review was done and Dale Scott comes back and says, no, the run actually counts. And that's when you see the beer cans starting to get thrown by everybody, which was not happened by me or one of my buddies who I was there with. We'll put that out there right now. We tried to stop people from doing that, even though we were intoxicated ourselves. We're like, guys, don't do that. But regardless.
So much wasted Molson, right?
Oh, absolutely. There was. Molson, Budweiser, Goose Island, whatever you name it. Like all of it was gone. Yeah, Labatt, exactly. But no, everybody in the section that I was in, we're all looking up at their phones, looking at Twitter. We're like, how does it run count? And then you start seeing it come out on Twitter, the explanation, and we're like, oh, crap, it does count. And obviously we're going to have to come back. And so I know we've talked about this on the show a few times when we reminisce about that inning. When I was there at the game, I'm thinking, there's no way they're going to lose 3-2 and that be the third run that they lose by, right? And sure enough, the most epic moment ever happened. And it's awesome that it happened and that I was very lucky to be there, but I also know there's probably a very good chance I may never see another moment like that live with that magnitude and that high of stakes. So it was crazy. It was crazy.
You won't. You'll never see anything.
Unless the only thing that would top it is a walk-off in a World Series Game 7, and I don't have enough money.
It's happened twice in history. Joe Carter was the only other.
Blue Jays already done that, so
yeah. No, we own all the good moments, right? And
there's no short supply.
Yeah. What's awesome about that game is that seventh inning, the entire thing, was probably an hour, if not longer, right? Which is a third of a normal baseball game, typically, which is what made it so epic. And as a Blue Jays fan, you're sitting back and you're thinking, of course this is how they lose. Of course this is how they lose because we're Blue Jays fans, right? And thankfully, again, something else that you'll never see is there was actually 6 outs in the bottom of that 7th inning that got derailed. So it was just a whole magnitude and an amalgam of just chaos and depression and the most uplifting moment. Me as a sports fan, I think I can speak for Craig and Brendan as well, that you'll ever see. You'll never forget where you were ever watching that game, ever.
I was in my living room, and after the home run was hit, and you see the bat go flying on TV. You bat flip because the camera immediately just towering shot. Yeah, and then you see the bat flip on the replay, and you're just like, holy shit, that was amazing.
There was actually an interview with Chris Colabello on a recent podcast, and he was talking about it, and he said the night before Jose Bautista was talking to him, and he said, if Dyson goes in there, I'm taking him yard. I know how to read his I know how to read it. I know how to read his changeup. I just got to sit back and wait for it. And he was waiting for that pitch the entire time. And it just he nailed it. And again, if you search the Twitter sphere, there's this meme or this video of baby Bautista. It's this little kid that dressed up as Bautista. He had the face paint for the beard and stuff.
It's a great video.
Did the swing exactly when Jose hit the home run, and he's just looking at his mom like,
what?
That happened.
It was like he was shadow boxing it. He's sitting there watching the game, and he's just sitting there kind of doing the rock, and then swing.
Yeah,
gone.
And he was in left
went
field,
right underneath of them too. He was like in the 500 level or in the 200s, and it went right underneath him. It was just awesome stuff.
Awesome.
Lowest of lows to the highest of highs in the course of 60 minutes.
Yes,
that's unbelievable.
Unless you were me, as I had the weirdest night ever. I had to choose between. Rush? I had to choose between 2 of my favorite things on the planet: Motley Crue and the Toronto Blue Jays. That was this. I was in Buffalo, New York, sitting in a bar, drinking, having fun with my friends and my now wife. And sure enough as hell, the chaos ensued. everything went nuts. I had to leave in the middle of the, oh my God, was that really what is going to happen bullshit? And then we went to go see Alice Cooper and Motley Crue and everything. And then I went on full media blackout because, like we were saying, we were all working for Jay's Journal. I even turned my phone on for 3 seconds. I was going to know what the hell happened. So I literally blacked out, ignored everybody in the arena at the in Buffalo there, and then drove home, watched the recording at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then proceeded to go streaking down the neighborhood streets, basically here in Rochester, New York. Flip the coffee table over, running around screaming. So it was crazy.
Funny you mentioned Alice Cooper, because that's somebody I desperately want on this show.
He's like the coolest guy on the planet. I just picture him in that Wayne's World scene all the time.
But he lives out here in Scottsdale. When he's not touring, he plays at the same golf course every single day. And he basically said, like, when he gave up drinking, he needed to find a new addiction, and it became golf. So instead of drinking every day, he played golf every day. And they said he's so nice, so approachable, and it's just like once things lighten up and I can go outside without a mask again, I'm going to go to the golf course, and I'm going to find him with a microphone. Like, can I have 30 minutes?
Come on my show.
10 minutes with.
So, from what I hear, he's the reason he actually tours still is to go golfing at other golf courses. Like because he shows up in any town. They're like, oh yeah, come to the country club, which is hilarious, knowing that he was the king of shock rock in the 70s and 80s. Then they wouldn't have let him near anything then, right? Yeah, come on here, take a few swings with your snake around your neck.
And he used to have a restaurant in downtown Phoenix too. That was pretty awesome. And he just abruptly closed it a few years back. And I still don't know why. That's the second question I have to ask him. Why did he close that?
Oh, well, in fact.
He had an outdoor beer garden in there right next to the restaurant. And it was like, he had the old floor from the Phoenix Suns, which was the arena. Shut up, Kate.
It's pronounced Milwaukee.
Yeah, so across the street is the Suns arena, and he bought like a huge chunk of the old Suns floor, and that was the floor of the lobby of the restaurant, was the old Suns basketball floor.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
So
That's cool.
They have this beer garden outside, and they do live music all the time, and he like randomly would come in on a Saturday afternoon and just they'd have like a house band or something playing. And he'd randomly just show up on a Saturday afternoon and walk out into the beer garden and just start performing with the house band. And it's like, man, I just got a free Alice Cooper concert.
School's out.
Amongst other great hits. So this might be the earliest we've ever derailed the show. So, Kate, can we get back on track here?
Yes. So what's the difference between a bluebird and a blue jay? Just kidding. That is not the question.
They're blue.
So what should a new listener expect when they listen to your show?
Oh God. Yeah, I would say we're not an average stats-based Blue Jays podcast. And this is no disrespect to any other Blue Jays podcast out there. Obviously we do enjoy the majority, if not all of them. A lot of baseball podcasts you hear, they're very stats based. They're very, the nerds have taken over baseball, to be honest. And it has its pros and has its cons. With our podcast, it's more, as Craig described it earlier, it's more like barroom chat, right? We just talk about the latest happenings. We talk about what we feel the direction of the team is, how we feel about it. Any rumors that we want to touch on, we do. And it's very relaxed and it's very loose. And with the live shows, we do have engagement, listener and viewer engagement in real time. So if you watch us live on YouTube or on Twitter, you get to be part of the show in real time. And we usually pause a segment just to get in the question that we want to, even if it's not on the topic at hand, we still like to get those listener engagement questions in. So what separates us, I would say, is we're a bit more engaging during the show, I would say.
Yeah. Like those live shows have honestly been the best thing we've ever done. Honestly, it's funny because sometimes we won't have a ton to talk about and the fans will help drive the show. And it does become like I said, I think the best way of describing the show is a barroom chat. Things are good. Things are great. everybody's happy, or things go a little derailed. You'll hear the beer cans slashing in the ground or peanuts hitting the TV or whatever it might be.
It's true. I've only been drunk on a podcast once, and it was this one. And it was the home opener for the Jays last year. It was a 3-hour marathon. I'm getting sloshed, and it was fun.
That's because we didn't. Yeah, we actually baseball, so we're just like, hey guys, like we're gonna
celebrate.
I think the other thing that separates us from others is I think we're pretty approachable on social media too. Where I know that there's this one guy who used to have Twitter, he got rid of it, but every single night before we record the show, he asks me what we're going to be talking about, or he submits a question. I think that's pretty cool. I just think we relate to everybody because I think Craig brings something different than I do, or something different than Adam does, and it just makes for a very good dynamic. So. Always engage with social media is what we say.
Yeah. Everybody's invited for our, shenanigans. Speaking of, apparently my daughter's invited now. She borrowed my stapler. She returned it. All right. Things are good.
So, moving on. We've recorded a podcast. I'm sure you've made some mistakes, learned some things. Share a piece of advice you've learned since you've started podcasting. Kate, we've made plenty of mistakes. Don't.
No, we're perfect.
Yeah.
We're perfect at not doing things correctly.
Oh, there you go.
We make our.
I would say,
if I got one, I can tee up. If you got one for a sec.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Take it, Craig.
I think the best decision I made first off was bringing these two knuckleheads in with me and then making them full partners. Nobody can come up with this stuff all on their own, week to week. And the fact that the other thing that I think is different from us too is even though I founded this whole thing and started this whole endeavor, these guys are full in on it with me, and I don't host every week. We change it up. It's like Saturday Night Live at Blue Jays podcasting here. So we each take a turn every week. And I really honestly wish I had from this the start, I had them right off the bat, because in all reality, I can't say enough about having these two on with me for the last year. Things were great, and we've been only getting better and engaging more Blue Jays fans throughout it.
I would agree.
Maybe next time Kate can be your musical guest.
There you go.
Funny enough, one of my friends did do our intro.
It's true. It's true. I think
second partner with an original intro.
Yes.
There it is.
I think when it comes to podcasting, though, in general, one of the things I've noticed, especially in the beginning, and you guys know, I've been, partners with you, DJ and Kate, for quite a while. In the beginning, it's just you're trying to find your voice. You're trying to establish who and how you want to be. And you're trying to, at least for me, I was trying to weigh out whether or not I want to put on some sort of persona to be, the entertainer, right? And then eventually you just sort of sit back and get relaxed into yourself and say, no, all you need is to just be yourself. So I think that's what makes this podcast that the three of us host very captivating and compelling to the listeners, that what you're hearing is how we are, literally, before we start the show and after. How we talk, how we address things, our emotions, how we emote into the microphone. It's all genuine. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in this process is just stay genuine, stay yourself, and people will come. That's just the way it is. Like, as long as you believe in it, people, by, process of elimination and law of averages dictate, someone will like it too, which means someone else will like it too. So just stay genuine, stay true to yourself. And I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah, I couldn't say that any better. Just be yourself. And especially when you're a sports podcast or maybe anything, something that you're knowledgeable in or that you're a fan of, I think that shines through wholeheartedly. And that's why people connect with you so well. So that's what I would say. Just be yourself. Say your thoughts honestly, unless they're offsides or rude or anything like that. But being yourself is definitely key. And you know what? When you go back and listen to episodes in the past, don't be too harsh on yourself either, because you might find that you say a particular word or phrase so many different times. Like if you just accidentally say in between those awkward gaps when you're trying to put together thoughts, just don't worry about it. Just be yourself.
Yes.
Or laugh hilariously at everything, or rub your beard into the microphone too much, whatever it might be.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Soft as a baby.
That thing's a brick.
Washed and conditioned.
I couldn't go a whole show on anybody's show without giving you a beard compliment.
Washed and conditioned, sir.
There it is.
Mine's like a worn out Brillo pad. It's
I'm sorry, Kate. I didn't mean to leave you out.
It's okay.
Yeah, Kate, tell us more about your beard.
It's non-existent. So where can people find your show?
Yeah, Brendan, take this one.
Yeah, that's you, everybody.
At Jaybird Watching on Twitter. Actually, it's at Bird Watching GC. That's what it is. That's the Twitter handle. That's the Facebook handle too. And Craig, correct me.
Everywhere, basically.
Yeah, everywhere. And whenever we start going live, it automatically pumps out to those channels too. So if you're on Twitter or you're on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you are, as soon as we press the go live button, they'll be there, and reply to comments, send comments there, because Craig's monitoring it the whole show too, because even if it's on YouTube or Twitter or wherever it is, all of them come into the one platform that Craig monitors, so it works perfectly. But yeah, at Birdwatching GC on all those social media platforms and Instagram too.
And just to give the backstory, the reason it's called Birdwatching GC versus Jaybird Watching on all the Twitter stuff, Adam and I had this kooky idea when we started this whole thing, was actually to more or less replace Joe Buck and everybody else and whatnot as announcers. We were actually going to rebroadcast an audio over a ball game once a month. So you didn't have to listen to Buck Martinez. So it was Bird Watching Gamecast originally, not Jaybird Watching.
Evolution.
Yeah.
Evolution.
Yes.
Don't they
Especially since my terrible cartoony logo that I tried hand doodling looked like a kid do it.
I was about to say, isn't there that whole disclaimer about you can't do that?
Yes.
Did you
As long as I'm not piping their audio over the back, apparently it's completely legal.
One of my I was at a Cubs game once, and one of my friends, there were these people, and the guy was like on his phone, and I think he was like live streaming on Twitter, YouTube, whatever, and he's like describing what's going on, and my friend walks over and like sticks his face in the camera. He's like, "Did you get written permission from Major League Baseball to do that?"
No authorized consent here.
Yeah, so that's all the
takes the phone, spikes it.
Yeah.
this broadcast is over.
Yes. Done.
Denied.
Cease and desist.
So Craig, Brendan, Adam, thanks again for being on the show today. Again, the show is Jaybird Watching Podcast, and it can be downloaded wherever you find your great, download your favorite podcast. So any parting words of wisdom today, Kate?
No.
Meh.
I thought about it so intently right there.
I don't know about
He's
you.
just going to pound the quiet please thing on the screen and tell you to shush.
I don't know about you, but I'm inspired.
I do have something. I do have something I'd like to say. We've exchanged this through emails and text, DJ and Kate, but I do want to say I thank you guys so much for believing in me in the start and to be able to branch this out the way we're doing it. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to both Craig and Brendan. So thank you for having the confidence in us, and thank you for having us on your show.
Absolutely. I mean, you've basically been with us since the very beginning, and we're just like, hey, I'm this random guy, we have nobody, and I'm just trolling around finding shows. Like, this sounds good. I'm going to send him an email, and I send my trademark, my War and Peace novel, and I'm like, hey, he responded. Awesome.
Game
no
on.
joke. He used to text me every time someone responded.
I like, we got to respond.
Bro, I still
There's
have
somebody
that
out there.
I don't know if you remember, you sent me something in the mail, the sticker. I still have the card. It's right up there
That's
on the
awesome.
shelf, the second shelf. Yeah, I have it right up there. I don't forget. I know.
So yeah, you were like, as far as active partners, I want to say you're probably the third or fourth longest. I'd have to go back and see for sure, but third or fourth longest. And with our announcement with the Hockey Podcast Network, we added partner number 175.
There you go.
Wow. Well done, guys.
Well played.
Congrats.
We have come a long way in a very, very short time. So, you've been with us since the very beginning, and we're, thank you for believing in our crazy idea and coming along with it.
Of course. Of course.
So
happy to ride coattails, guys.
That's right.
On that note, I'm getting angry texts on this screen from my wife. Are you dying? Yeah, that
sounds like there's too much fun being had.
Yeah, well, my kids are destroying the place. I can hear it in the background. No, on occasion when we do these show, you'll hear what sounds like a pterodactyl scream, and that's one. So
actually, it's not true. He has pet pterodactyls.
Oh,
okay, gotcha. Man, full on Jurassic Park. Are they big ones or little ones?
Yeah, no.
He have a bunch of guys in hazmat suits at my front door tomorrow. Thanks.
We're supposed to tell.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up today. Check us out at stadiumscene.tv, at Stadium Scene on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and TikTok, and at Stadium_Scene on Instagram. And we will see you next time.